Welcome everyone to oldtacosandgeeks.com. Justin here, back with more video game reviews. And today, my friends, we are going to be talking about the video game Broken Lore Don't Watch. This came out a while ago, and I finally got around to finally playing it and beating it because it's a short game. And I love horror. This horror is my favorite genre, and I love horror games, survival horror games. And we see a lot of these first person walking simulator PT inspired type of games, and I think I've played enough. But something about Broken Lore really drew me in, and I'm gonna give you a brief synopsis of the game before I talk about it. I'm gonna do my review a little different this time. I'm just gonna go through it since it's a really short game. Real truthfully, you can beat this game in an hour, so I'm not gonna really break it up into story gameplay. I'm just gonna talk about my overall thoughts about it. And the synopsis reads as this: You play as Shinji, a young man trapped inside his small Tokyo apartment with unpaid rent, mounting bills, and a family that doesn't understand him. He feels isolated from the world and from himself. And one thing I like about this is that this is a psychological horror game. And as the synopsis says, you do play as Shinji. He's a young man living alone in his Tokyo apartment, and he is an introvert or someone who isolates themselves from society. When his monthly income suddenly gets cut off by his parents because his parents feel like he's leeching, he doesn't work, he's such a shut-in, he doesn't go out. And he is forced to face his inner fears and guilt in this game. And what follows is this slow descent into this psychological torment expressed through unsettling visuals and tense gameplay. And speaking of those graphics and visuals, one of the game's strongest elements is its atmosphere. The apartment setting is simple at first. It's messy. You look at the apartment, you go, how does anyone live here? It's claustrophobic and it's quiet, but as the game progresses, it gradually transforms in something much more darker and disturbing. The walls become fleshy, eyes appear when they shouldn't be, and you're never really true likely like you're alone. And the game uses light and sound to build tension. And I think this is one of the strongest points here is the use of light and sound to build tension rather than those generic jump scares that we usually get. And from hearing distant whispers to buzzing electronics, the audio design is fantastic in this, and it does a great job of adding this sense of dread. So if you're able to play this with headphones, I would highly suggest it because if you play with headphones, you're really gonna get that feeling and that sense of dread I was talking about with this great score, by the way, especially when it comes to that gameplay when you have to stab these eyes to stop the monster in there. But speaking of the gameplay, it's straightforward. It is a walk around simulator, and you do interact with objects, and occasionally you avoid this monster that's responsible for all this. And it's a creature that has many eyes that stalks you in the shadows. And one of the creative mechanics involves looking away from the creature or covering your view to survive. There are moments that take you into this retro style mini game, which the graphics completely shifts back into kind of like this 32-bit PlayStation 1 type era type of aesthetics, which truthfully some players found it to be distracting or thought that it slowed the pace down. But me personally, I like that variety, especially since you get to see how Shinji looks in that 32-bit era type of aesthetics. And I thought it worked here because, especially this being a psychological game, it really emphasized the mindset of where Shinji is going. And I would say some of the downfalls of the game is that it is short. You can beat this in 1 to 2 hours, but it does leave a strong impression on the plus side. It has emotional weight that comes from the way it tackles real world issues like anxiety, loneliness, and self worth. And the voice acting is great, especially in Japanese. Shinji's performance I thought was really good, and having that English subtitles with it or the subtitles whatever in your language is it made it feel like I was playing an interactive Asian horror film, one that will be similar to the style of Pulse, One Missed Call, and those very supernatural Asian horror films that we get a lot of. On the downside, the short length might disappoint a lot of players because The setup and the concept is so good. You want it to be longer of experience here. But I will have to say this, it doesn't wear out as welcome. So maybe the short time runtime here, runtime like it's a movie, excuse me, the short gameplay time here made sure that it made a statement and just kind of leave. The gameplay is more about exploration and emotion than action or puzzle solving. Some players also found the graphics settings limited, which could affect the performance on the lower end of PCs. Despite some of these flaws, Broken Lore Don't Watch is a fun game. It's a unique horror experience. It proves that a game doesn't need to be long or filled with combat to be impactful. If you like psychological horror, walking simulators, or narrow narrative-driven games, this might be worth your time. So you know how we do here on otakusandgeeks.com. We either say buy it, skip it, or wait for a sale. This is only $8.99. That's the price of some of our lunches when we go to work. So I'm gonna say buy it, folks. This is Justin from otakusandgeeks.com. If you like what we do here, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one later day.